Welcome to Late Night FM. It's Christian. One day, I'm going to get myself a big announcer type to make it sound like we're on broadcast radio with a 100,000 watt signal. It's Christian. Thanks for stopping by. I want to talk about Rush on this episode. If you know someone who loves Rush, please share this out. Because last weekend, I write on Substack now, and this all goes back to I was putting some radio stories together. I wouldn't quite call it a memoir, and it is reflections of time spent in broadcast radio and some of my friends and some stories from Baltimore and Philadelphia, WIYY and WMMR, respectfully. Perhaps some stories of NPR when I was in St. Louis and worked there for a decade. Well, anywho, this writing felt good to me. Felt good. It was fun. And so I started translating it to a Substack called Late Night FM. And I talk about music and radio and culture. And I was seeing these cell phone videos of Anika playing with Rush. And I was like, this is the biggest story in rock and roll. Certainly right now. And I made a video, but first the writing. Let me go back to the Substack because I'm enjoying this writing, and that's where it kind of started. And I could feel the excitement. And they're showing this video. It's a cell phone camera, so the quality of it, is of cell phone quality, which isn't bad. I'd have more issue with the sound quality than the visuals. It's a cell phone. It must sound amazing being in the room. But they were in the room, and they recorded part of Tom Sawyer and those fills. And Anika, who is a professional, badass player, handled her business. And you see them pull back slightly, and the audience backed her with applause, a big pop at that moment when she hit these fills, and smiles on the faces of Getty and Alex. This was opening weekend of this tour. We're in 2026, if you happen to be listening to this a little bit further down the line, and hello from the past. Now, other videos start to pick up in my algorithm because we know it's an interest graph. And I was interested. I was checking out the new Rush drummer, at least for this tour. I'm going to be sharing comments that I received on my post, the video post, in just a little bit, because I think this is such an amazing story that people are a little bit, I was curious to see if Rush fans were a little divided. I wouldn't say divided. Spoiler alert, I would just say most people are overwhelmingly in favor of this change to the band. It's a legendary band. Neil Peart is an amazing, legendary artist who passed away. And many fans go back to thinking that these shoes could never be filled, and that might be true. It's also true that I don't imagine artists wanting a robot up there, like Getty and Alex, wanting a note-for-note carbon copy. I think they might be looking for something different. I think they're looking for somebody like Anika, who can compose and write, and she's creative, she's professional, they can depend on her. All these great things seems to be what they found out coming out of these rehearsals. There are reports that came out that Alex was not feeling it in the first few days, but after some more time, they started to click. If you're a Rush fan, sit down for a minute. Let's talk. I will share some of these responses on Instagram and on YouTube. Ultimately, I would like to do this show live. This would have been a great recording to do with all of you. This, by far, was the most popular piece of video content in terms of views and conversation that I've seen. And it happened on IG. So thank you for that. I'm going to read some of these in just a bit. Getting back to Substack, all of this is called Late Night FM, this podcast, the writing portion, and my channel. All of the content really goes to the vibe, which is the show's name, Late Night FM. And if you grew up of a certain vintage, I'm thinking boomers and my generation, Generation X, which I do believe is the last generation that was raised on radio. Not completely. Everybody's welcome here, but I think the feeling that radio gave to us growing up. So Late Night FM for me means you could hear Art Bell out in the desert talking about the supernatural. You could hear Delilah giving you some advice somewhere else on the line. You may have a love it or shove it contest going on a radio station. Larry King might be there with your favorite artist. And for us, the topics may change, but the vibe is Late Night FM. I started seeing all this stuff about Anika, and I was inspired to write about it because technically they could have anybody they wanted. Any artist, any drummer that they wanted, they could have had. And they picked her. And so I wrote about it. I was inspired to write about it the next morning. I posted it to the subscribers on Substack, and then I recorded the video, which I posted to the YouTube channel and my Instagram, and I've never had much luck on anything on Instagram, and I guess it's too infrequent. Every now and again I put something up. But since I started this, and this is a relatively new project for me, I feel I finally figured it out. But in doing so, I've hit a rhythm here, and in midday, I put it up. Instagram starts to blow up. Hundreds of people, then thousands of people. And as of this recording, it was seen by over 18,000 people, which tells me this is a good story, number one. And there's a lot of Rush fans out there. And the comments that came across are proof of this. Now, a couple of funny tidbits along the way. I got reprimanded politely, because let's talk about Neil Peart and Neil Peart's name. Okay, I grew up in Baltimore, and I swear hearing it on the radio, this is before the internet, I think people used to say Neil Peart. In this video, that's what I said. I know his name is Neil Peart, and I said it wrong. It's a terrible habit, and I apologized. I made a video about it, a real quick video, because some people in the comments are like, yo, come on, man. Some people went as far to say you have no credibility if you say his name wrong. I was like, wow, okay. This was just a commentary. By the way, I'm independent. I do this on my own. Thank you. Anyway, a lot of people were completely understanding. Neil Peart is his name, and that's how he would like you to say it. Some people got into it a little bit about Anika's name. Now, I heard Alex say Anika Nilles. Okay, so I said this, but of course she's German, and they're going to say it a different way in Germany. She's okay with the way it's being said, so I'm like, oh. But hey, from here to mostly love for this band, and I want to share some of that stuff with you. But by the way, if you'd like reading, Substack is an interesting place, and it's cool for me if you want to consider becoming a free subscriber. And if I earn it, you want to become a paid subscriber, that's great. That keeps the wheels on the road, so to speak. I appreciate that. And then you'll find us on YouTube, Instagram, and your podcasts, wherever you get podcasts. So the post takes off. Many eyeballs are seeing it. Many likes, which is great. I'm very happy that it resonated with other people, and they're feeling this as well. And again, several hundred comments. But what I want to do is I want to share a little bit about it, because I think it's important that we get the word how you're feeling right now. I became a Rush fan through my brother. He was playing early Rush 2112. The first thing I ever bought with my own money was moving pictures. So I was definitely digging the band from a young age. I also bought Thriller and Quiet Riot. I think I had probably about $15. Back then you could get a record. Wouldn't break the bank. But anyway, I don't know how much I paid. Let's take a look at some of these comments now. If you're watching this on the tubes, you can follow along. Now this is straight out of IG. Posted the video up. You're welcome to go look at it. BS Mall 101 says, history is being made in such a clean and articulate way, truly the Rush way. I'm telling my kids that a legend is being honored and a legend is being born right before our eyes. Love it. Now, let's see. XIE Kate UO says, I hope they make her the official member of the band and that they record one more album with her. Bookend the Rush story, John on one end, Neil in the middle, and Anika on the other. Let's see, ACA Glees. I think 90% of Rush fans trusted them to make the right musical decision. I've never heard about her before, but assumed they knew what they were doing. And I felt safe in assuming that. Seeing her perform up there has been utterly joyful. And let me take a break here because just not a commercial break. Just to comment a little bit about this. There were a small pocket, if you will, of people that they don't dig it. They don't dig it. They didn't want this. They didn't dig it. Okay, but that's not even probably 1% out of 100. Seriously, people were like, I don't know, I dig it. I kind of Rush died with Neil. Okay, so we have to believe, I do at least, I have to believe that Geddy and Alex thought about this in great detail, and I have to trust that they know what they're doing and what their legacy means to them right now, to many people over the course of 5 decades, and what this introduction of a new player would mean. So I can only trust them, right? They are the keepers of the legacy. Is it a money grab, as some people have said in my comments? What? I would know. I couldn't speak to that anyway. Do they need the money? I guess would be my question. Let's go back to the phones. Yeah, that sounds like something you'd hear on late night FM. Actually, we're reading comments now. Some scattered. There's a couple great thoughts. I can't go through all of them, but I'd like to share some of them with you. All right, Mark. Mark says, she was good enough for guitar legend Jeff Beck, and that's good enough for me. Here's another interesting point. Yes, she did play with Jeff Beck. And so there was a comment, and you're welcome to go back. I'm going to leave all this stuff open. You can reply to other people. Let's keep it a two-way conversation. That's why I'd like to bring this to a live forum on the tubes, right? Just need to pick a day and get a little momentum before we start recording live. But then I can bring you in here, you see. Yes, she did play with Jeff Beck. He is a guitar legend, right? Legend. He picked her to play with him, right? And so that's a professional drummer. That is on her resume. That's a big-time gig, no doubt. One of the comments said, we only know about her because of Jeff. We can thank Jeff Beck, right? Not that he discovered her. But if it wasn't for him, this person saying that she wouldn't be anything. Now, and I know we should thank her parents and her father, who was a drummer. We should also thank, I believe, her uncle, or two of the uncles were drummers, and her skill. I thank her skill. And of course, her skill got her to Jeff Beck, and then Jeff Beck to Rush. Okay, so let's look at the macro picture. You just can't say you could thank Jeff Beck. It's Jeff Beck. No, she's a player. She earned this, and now, as a professional player, this is her next gig. Now, is it permanent? That's what we were talking about a little earlier. Moving on now, these are from IG, and we had many comments. I don't know how you even determine how many, but many, and the engagement was good, and the shares were good. I appreciate all that. Here's one. I binged all the concert videos from the last week, and it's so amazing to see them back on stage. The gratitude runs deep. Anika is killing it. Another point I'd like to make here, the smiles. These guys, Alex and Getty, are smiling. There's interplay. They're playing, they do something cool, which is what I believe music is all about, this sort of creating, making something together on stage, knowing the music so intimately that when someone makes a little change or an addition, you smile because that's cool. They were smiling on stage, absolutely. I think that is wonderful. She's smiling, they're smiling. The audience is getting a big pop when they're happy. Seems like opening weekend was a hit. Bert says, agreed, I can't help but to shed tears when I watch the recent clips. It's overwhelming to watch them back on stage. Anika is absolutely amazing and is killing it. The smiles between the three of them is heartwarming. Schaefer says, imagine the mental and physical strength to handle this. She had to learn 40 songs, and each song is over 2.5 hours long. That's a joke there. But can you imagine that? The weight and the pressure. Maybe she's clearly, right? She's a composer. She writes her own music, lyrics, and she's a teacher. I don't know the extent of her teaching, but that is in her rep to be a teacher there. So, meaning that I think she can write music. I think she's probably a very quick study. She can hear what's going on. She's with it. She's smart, physically strong enough to do it. Gets us to the part about age. I think age is important here because, the guys, they've been around. They've been around for a while. The stamina it takes to play, 3-hour set, let's just say 3 hours. We're seeing this with Pearl Jam, one of my favorite bands, another one we'll be talking about, I hope, together in time. They're going to unveil their new drummer at Ohana later this year. September 27th is when they'll be headlining that event. But we're waiting. There's some mystery around it. It's cool. We can talk about that. But, Matt Cameron, he retired from the band after 27 years. Lots of touring. The schedule is heavy, and they play 3-hour shows. Point being, that's 60 years old. Anika is in her early 40s, and I know I might not sound like a gentleman if I'm saying that. Let me read a couple more. Hopefully you guys are okay and enjoying hearing about this. I certainly enjoyed it. Let's see if I can figure this out on my own screen. Well, I tell you who we're sponsored by. We are not. We are independent, and we are out here working for the people. All right, I need to push this button, get some of these, more of these replies. And look, if you're watching this back, this is what it would look like in a studio as your radio folks are bouncing around between screens. I noticed my lights look a little off. Anyhow, getting back to the Rush and the commentary. Let's see if we can read a couple more of these. And again, I'd love for you to find me on Substack, and you can find me on YouTube. It's all under my name, Christian Kudnik. It's a Polish name, so I'm sensitive about getting Neil Peart. I did that on purpose. Neil Peart. There was a big to-do about that in the comments. Neil Peart. Did I discuss this with you growing up and his name being... Yeah. Okay. My apologies for his whole ancestry. Couple more of these comments. lifelong fan, Rush fan here, probably have seen them nearly 10 times. I don't know what was best, watching her kick ass on the drum kit or the smiles on Getty and Alex's faces throughout the show. The latter says it all, I think, and I think that is true. Let's do a couple more. Think of the enormous pressure, the size of the shoes she was expected to fill, and she's pulling it off. To some people, yes. Some people she's pulling it off, and what we talked about here, and this could be my good final point for you so you can get on about your business. She learned so many songs, 40 songs for this tour here, and possibly a handful of others are coming down the line. I think she's working hard, very hard. The conversation I feel that needs to happen is, if you're a Rush fan that feels that Neil Peart is the gospel and she should be playing it note for note, I think you're going to be disappointed. Yes, there could be people who are in tribute bands. There's other people who know this note for note. One of the people commenting called them Rush fanboys who can play every single note of the legend. I think, though, in my experience, spent a lot of time around artists, is that they support other artists. That's why I'll finish one point and get on to another one here, and I hope you'll comment on any of this stuff. She has been given room to roam. She seems to be staying true to the essential Neil Peart drum fills in those significant pockets, right? But she also has been given the green light, from what I can tell and from what I'm hearing and reading, space to be an artist. And that's important to her, and that's important to them, because number one, they're all artists. You're not just trying to fill the seat. I think it would be whack if they had somebody just back there and that's what was expected, and then you acted like that dude's not even back there. He's just, she can be an artist. She can contribute. She can write and compose. I'm a fan, okay? This, to me, is the best story in rock and roll, and hopefully we'll talk about many others. This right now is my favorite, okay? And it brings me to a point that, some people were commenting that Neil would be rolling over in his grave. And to the point where, and this is, again, less than 1% of the total, 99.9% of this is positive, favorable, loving this. She's killing it. That's the vibe, right? Some are just saying he wouldn't be happy with this. And I disagree. I disagree with that. Again, I think an artist understands the needs of an artist, right? You have that kinship. It's insert whatever you do with other people who do what you do. And when you love what you're doing and someone else does, you understand, right? Doesn't matter if you're an artist. In this case, they are artists, and they are very talented artists. One is a legend. The other is an artist that can play his stuff with respect and add her stuff to Rush to get enough where it doesn't seem like she's going off the course or out on her own and she's in business for herself. No, sir. No, ma'am, can't agree to those terms. I don't believe it. But just a recap. For my Rush brothers and sisters out there, thank you so much. The one post, and thank you to Anika, because she gave me something to talk about, to create a post that people are resonating with. It's her story first. My words as a fan started a conversation, and that's what I would like Late Night FM to become. Not just Rush, but other bands and things and stuff. Okay. We can do that. So join me on Substack, if you will. It's all under my name, Christian Kudnick. You'll see it there with Late Night FM. All the places, YouTube, And IG, what a performer on IG. A lot of Rush fans there, and a lot of fans ready to engage on that platform, and YouTube always serves as well. And if we can figure out a way where enough music lovers and people who dig radio, I spent a lot of time in radio, I've got stories I want to share, and of course culture, things that are going on where we can just talk about what. That's the feel of Late Night FM, at least for me. So find us there on all the socials. ChristianKudnick.com is a place where you can go as well. But please leave a comment, reach out if you have a message you'd like to send to me. By all means, my email address is christian@latenightfm.com. christian@latenightfm.com. You have a story idea, a story you want to share, thoughts on doing this live. Sometime we can do that because we'll have interviews and I can bring people in during this process. This week I was thinking, who could I talk to? Who could I bring in and just have this conversation? I think we should do it. I'm going to set it up and we'll have a conversation because this is a story we need to follow. And I do hope Rush comes to the Midwest. Oh, please come out to the Midwest. Either St. Louis or Kansas City. I'm closer to Kansas City, but look, it's only 3.5 hours, and if I could go. And open invitation to the band. Okay, you ever want to come and have a conversation? That'd be great because your people are enjoying this ride. All right, take care of yourselves. Look out for the next article, the next video, and the next podcast. Until then, good day.